Hi guys, it's Don here from DonDronesOn. One day in September, my wife and I hopped in our boat and decided to have a relaxing trip up the Salmon River, where it enters Beaver Lake. The Salmon River has its headwater north of Cloyne, just south of Mazenod Lake. It runs southward for 80-odd kilometers and finally empties into the Bay of Quinte, near Belleville. Beaver Lake, where we are today, is roughly in the middle of all this, and one of many lakes the river flows in and out of. The area around the mouth of the Salmon River, where it flows into Beaver Lake, is a wide area of wetlands. Swamps and reedy mush interspersed with trees and scrub. Sounds a bit disgusting, but is actually a great feature to have along a river. I read on the Friends of the Salmon River webpage that wetlands have been called the kidneys of the landscape, filtering out and trapping excess nutrients in our watershed. They also provide happy homes to millions of critters: turtles, muskrats, herons, frogs, ducks, and the occasional insect. Pretty cool stuff. By the way, I've produced two versions of this video today, this guided tour version, plus a lovely relaxing version with just music. Click on the link at the top of the page if you would prefer not to hear me yatter on about the river and just want to enjoy the view. Don't worry, I won't be offended. As you can see, trees must have a pretty tough time staying firmly rooted in the muddy soil along the riverbank. To me, the leaning trees provide yet another interesting aspect of this part of the river, and we'll see quite a few of them going forward. Coming up ahead, you can see a heavily wooded granite ridge in the distance. Ridges like this one are remnants of the glacial ages that formed much of the landscape in these parts of the world. This particular ridge continues on and becomes Neville Point, the skinny sliver of land that separates North and South Beaver Lake. The Salmon River meanders back and forth in this section, and you might notice I tend to stick to the outer parts of these bends. Turns out that the deepest part of a river is on the outer parts of bends, with the shallow parts on the inside of the curves. Here the river is about 6 feet deep where I'm traveling. You know, I've probably watched this video at least a dozen times in the course of producing this one and the other version, and every time I see something new. You'll see an arrow in a few seconds, and it's the head of something. I'm thinking it's a small muskrat, perhaps, and it scurries out of the way. Coming up in a few seconds, you'll see a great blue heron fly low over the water from the left to the right. I've put an arrow against it so you can maybe spot it. Almost every time we're on this river, we see one or two great blue herons flying by. They must be very plentiful in the area. They live strangely enough, they're very large birds, but they live high in the trees, and they live in groups of they nest in groups called heronries. Is it just me, or do those clouds look really fake? But they're not. Or if I did fake them, I did a great job in doing some corresponding reflections in the water. I'm not much of a tree expert. I can probably recognize a maple and an oak and a birch tree, but there's lots of trees along here that I don't know what they are, and it'd be wonderful if someone could comment in the comments below the video and let us know what kind of trees these are, if they can identify them. As we enter the more wooded part of the river's journey, we can see a lot more trees down in the water, and this forms part of the natural beauty of the area, and I am quite sure it is well loved by turtles who like to climb up on those old logs and bask in the sunshine. I'm sure there's lots and lots of them watching us as we go through the river, and I did spot one for sure in the video, and I've pointed that out coming up. But yeah, there's lots of turtles along here. Painted turtles are probably the most prevalent, but there's also snapping turtles, there are Blanding's turtles, and also musk turtles. Oop, that was a dragonfly, by the way, flying by quickly. Musk turtles are very strange in the sense that they like to climb, and not just climb up on logs. They'll climb as much as 6 feet up on a tree and have a snooze up there. Very strange to see. You've probably noticed there's lots of lily pads and water lilies along the sides of the river. You might be interested in watching my video called The Monster Beneath the Lake. We're coming up on a sharp bend in the river, and a small tributary joins in at this point. We're nearing the end of our tour today. Here's a map of where we started and the sharp bend where we are now. There are thousands of water striders right here, strange little insects that can walk right on the surface of the water and somehow skate around like crazy. And coming up on a log on the left, I'll point out a painted turtle basking away in the afternoon sun. Better get ready to duck under that branch. Oh good, we made it. A bit of an obstacle course of fallen trees as we approach the end of our trip today. Beyond this is a small dam across the river and Linda's place, so we'll stop here and turn around. I'm glad you've joined us on our little outing and hope you've enjoyed the afternoon. But don't go away yet. I decided to launch the drone at this point to get a bird's eye view of where we are. Okay, maybe it's not my drone. Please hit the thumbs up on my video and drop a comment below. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell to be notified of new videos. Thanks so much for watching today.